I've often thought about what would the perfect player look like.
It might play the game in a completely different way from the way that we play it.
As a chess player, you want to know more about chess, you want to get deeper, and there is so much still to learn.
AlphaZero played a match against Stockfish, which was the strongest computer that we all knew, and it won the match.
And all of a sudden I thought, wow,
does this really work? How does it know how to do it?
I started thinking, it's quite interesting, and there's just a couple of games that went bang.
And these were very exciting games, very attacking games, giving pawns away right at the early stages of the game. The other computers were thinking, well, that's too early.
AlphaZero doesn't have any rules. It learns through experience.
Really didn't think there was room for this huge attacking style, never in my wildest dreams.
There's even more depth than we thought in chess.
It's like discovering the secret notebooks of some great player from the past.
It explains AlphaZero's strategies.
How does AlphaZero think? AlphaZero blows apart what traditional engines are doing.
Hello, and a special Christmas welcome. Hey, Mark. Hello. Season's greetings indeed.
Hello.
To this to one of the last shows, the last days of the Caplin Online British Chess Championship before we have a little break for Christmas. So yeah, we've to be honest, the way things are going, I'm not feeling particularly Christmassy at the moment, but we're going to do our best. So I have got this incredible jumper, which is. Has always delighted my nephews. There we are, you see, with this excellent penguin. And Natasha, you've got a great jumper as well, although you're...
I have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Well, there we are, you see.
On screen.
So,
there we go.
Brilliant. So fantastic. We're definitely set there. I did actually have a series of quite amazing Father Christmas hats. Apparently, they've all been given away to my nephews. So I've only got this Christmas pudding hat left over. So there we are. Yeah, normally I'd basically be wearing stupid Christmas hats the whole time, but first day today. Right, so we are looking at the fourth round. Am I right? Fourth round of the
third round, right?
Oh, third of the women's championship.
The women's, yes.
Third round. Sorry, I do apologise. Third round of the women's championship, and we've got some great games. The top pairing is Dagne against Ketevan Arakhamia. So
right, international master Dagne Ciuskyte from England against Grandmaster Ketevan Arakhamia from Scotland, and this is seed 1 and 2 of the tournament.
Yes, Mark, yeah, absolutely right. If you dress up for Christmas, then you automatically feel a little bit more Christmassy. So,
good afternoon.
Hey, hi. It's yeah. So this is going to be a big matchup. What else have we got? We've got.
We also have Imogen Dyson, a young player from England, against Zoe Varney, also a young player from England, not quite as young as Imogen. We have Lara Putar from Ireland against Trisha Kanyamarala, also from Ireland. So England v England and Ireland v Ireland. And then we have Alice Lampard from Scotland against May Ketevan from England. And Suzanne Barry from Ireland against Tashika Aurora from England. Georgia Headlong against Nina Pert, 2 junior players from England. Hannah Lowry O'Reilly from Ireland against Olivia Smith from Wales. And we have Kate Walker against Rida Rukaya from England.
Fantastic. And got to mention there's a few players who are actually playing in the championship event as well. So Zoe Varney, we saw her in action over the last few days as well. And also Tashika Aurora, I think, is also playing in the main event.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean those are really brave people playing an awful lot of chess over the last few days, and we might even see them in the Blitz and the Rapid events as well, I guess. So lots of chess still to come. Okay, right. Well, what I'm going to do is get this over with and share my screen first of all. So if we can just have a look, chess.com, share. Let's do it like that. And we're on, and here we are. The screen is shared. Oh, that's we're slightly different. We're on the side like that. How about like this? This looks even better. Should be a big board and a couple of small people there. So fantastic. There we are. Okay, so yeah, I mean, looking at the top pairings there. So Dagne is an E4 player, if I'm not mistaken. So Ketevan, now in the good old days, she was a big Sicilian player. So I'm quite intrigued to see how that one goes. Could be a sharp game there. And then, yeah, going a little bit further down, yeah, Georgia Headlong against Nina Pert. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. Two junior players playing. Always interesting, you know. Always reminds me of my own junior fights. You know, it was always a special thing playing, you know, a fellow junior. You always had a lot of, well, yeah, a little bit of friendly rivalry in there because it's that's always very interesting as well. So how are things going, Natasha? Are you ready for Christmas? Oh, Natasha, have we lost your sound? I can't
Moment,
hear.
it's back.
Aha,
You can't hear me now. Yes.
I can hear you now, indeed.
Yeah.
It's so how have your Christmas preparations been?
Well, actually, slow as usual. But I was wondering if people might help me with something, because what I want to know, I've got this. We've had a family gathering for over 30 years, and we've met with this another family, and now there's 3 generations of the same family, grandparents, parents, children. There'll be now like 40 people meeting up, and we've done it every year. And we're not going to be able to do it this year. We're not going to be able to meet in person. So we are looking to do a call, like a Zoom call or something, on Boxing Day. And what I was wondering was if anyone knew of things like a quiz or a good game to play that is suitable for sort of lots of generations and to do online in a call. So if anyone has any ideas on that, that would be very, very helpful. I found a Boxing Day quiz I found was a music one, but it started at 10:30 p.m. So that's a little bit late for us. But something like that, quiz or game. If you know of anything, then please do. Recommendations gratefully received.
I suppose you could you do something like an online Monopoly game or something like that?
Possibly, yeah.
And then all different teams, something like that.
Yes, have a team for each family, something like that kind of thing.
It's
yeah. Well, they've all been saying that the game that kids are playing at the moment is Among Us, where you there's one person who's the imposter, and you're in a team, and then the imposter sort of murders the members of the team. It's not as violent as it sounds. But that's what lots of the kids are playing at the moment. So we might have a go at that as well.
It's yeah, my brother said. I mean, normally we get together all for Christmas, of course. So my brother was looking for a game that they could play with all the family. But obviously the danger always is that with difference in ages, it's some children are can deal better with losing than others. So it's very important to have a game that isn't too competitive, you know, and that that's easy to play with everyone. It's quite.
And you can play Scribble also online. That's Scribble, which is a bit like Pictionary, and that's sort of good for kids and adults.
Okay. It's yeah. Oh, what a shame. But it's a good thing to try and keep that tradition going somehow or other. Just like the British Championship here, you know, it can't take place over the board, so it moves online, you know, and that's it's just really
that's what you do. Yeah,
that's what you do simply. Now let's have a look. I'm just it's almost might be time to start. And mad, here we are. Not
E4 at all.
No, indeed, knight f3. There we are. It's knight f3, knight f6, g3. So
there goes all your prep.
there goes all my prep. But well, G3, you never know. I might actually be able to use some of the prep I did with Terry Chapman in the Pro Biz, because he's a G3 King's Indian player, and I'm expecting Ketevan to play G6. She's a lifetime King's Indian player. So if White plays D4 at some stage, then I might actually know something about this opening now. It's so very solid line against the King's Indian D4. Sorry, a G3 rather. It's a very, very solid line indeed. What you do have with this move order, you have a few different possibilities for White. For example, castles. You can play D4, D6, and then I was once successful against Mark Hebden with the move Rook E1. So not going for a typical door opening King's Indian with C4, but Rook E1 followed by E4, and I played a beautiful game actually against him at Hastings. Now I've seen Magnus Carlsen playing A4, and Pierre Cramling played this as well actually, and scored quite ningsely. I mean, the idea is simply that you aim for some sort of perk structure. You know, Rook E1, for example, Knight C6, you go E4, E5, you go something like C3 maybe, and just try and get black into an opening that maybe black wouldn't play normally, because not all King's Indian players are perk players. So let's have a look. Castles. Now Ketevan is thinking a little bit, but I would expect castles to happen.
I assume both players will be playing very much for the win here. They're the seeds 1 and 2. It's a 7-round tournament, actually, the women's, and so I suppose they could, in theory, take a quick draw and both be favourites to kind of joint win. But I would think they'd be wanting to play like Dagne because she's white, and Ketty because she's got the higher rating. So let's see how, because it's quite a quiet opening, this, but it can liven up very quickly.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see what Dagne is planning there. I think, to be honest, that she might be planning one of these transpositions to a perk or something like that. I think if she was planning to play a G3 King's Indian, then I think she would have played D4 straight away, because I think that Ketevan is more or less always playing the King's Indian. So I'm expecting something a bit unusual here. Maybe I mean, could be D3, for example, or C4. That's also possible. I mean, after C4, D6, we could just play a normal English, with Knight C3, and if you go E5, I play D3, and there's a standard plan of playing Rook B1, and then the B pawn marches up the board. That's possible too. So but D6 and D4. So White really did want a G3 King's Indian there. So and of course Ketevan had this already in the first round against Raylin. And in that game, Ketevan played Knight C6, and then the plan with A6 and B5. So I would expect
Raylin's not playing today. She's travelling, I think, and so she's got the bye today. We'll see her back in action after Christmas.
Exactly, but she said she'd be watching, so I'm sure she's going to be watching this game with interest, because this.
Hi, Raylin, if you're watching now.
Yeah, hi, Raylin, and so this is one of her openings, so should be very interesting. Now, I think Ketevan's thinking a little bit. I think she's probably. It was mostly for fun, but I usually won. That's right, Mark. That's the important thing. Oh, and look at this. This is interesting. Ketevan's varying here. So Ketevan is varying.
Okay, so yes, it was Knight C6, and now it's Knight BD7.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Now, normally you'd expect Ketevan to continue with E5 now. and then white normally will play e4 afterwards, and we're into the main lines. I had a game like this with Terry during the Pro Biz. We were white against Kramnik and his partner,
Okay.
and I think we were a little bit better for quite a while, but they got us in the end. It's got us in the ending, but should be interesting. Let's just have a quick look then at the next board. This is Imogen Dyson against Zoe Varney. So interesting opening here. We've got a Vienna, and then white plays G3. We've seen this already, actually, in one of the games from the qualifiers, actually, and black played D5, which is quite a normal move. But here, black playing something very sensible as well. Brings the bishop out, plays A6. A6 maybe a little early, but white does have the possibility to play knight A4 at times when black goes D6. So A6 just stops that. Knight C6, knight E2, and then I guess, well, black can do a number of things. Knight C6 is a very obvious move. You could just play castles and let white play D4, but I'd rather play knight C6, to be honest.
And Imogen's another talented young player in this event. She's 15 years old.
Oh, Raylin is watching. Hi, Raylin.
Hi, Raylin.
Good to see you. So, okay, so we're going to have a look at that opening. Should develop interestingly. Now we've got Secret Superstar against Lara G, or rather Lara G against Secret Superstar. So this is interesting as well, actually. So this move 4G3 against the Slav was actually supposed to be not very interesting for white, but as always happens in the modern world, top players managed to make something of everything, assisted, of course, by computer analysis. So it's become quite popular. So G3. Bishop F5, Bishop G2, E6. Yeah, I mean, traditionally, we always thought that if the bishop came outside the pawn chain on F5, then this was nothing at all for white. But there's a little bit more than meets the eye. H6 is a good accurate move just to make sure that when you go knight H4, the bishop can retreat back to H7, doesn't have to get exchanged. Bishop E7, B3. Castles, bishop b2, knight bd7, and now this key idea, actually, knight d2. And what is white aiming for? White's simply going to aim for e4 and have a little bit of a space advantage. It's nothing dramatic, but it's a little edge for white. And very, very solid. So, you know, chances of losing for white are quite small, and chances of having a little edge are quite high.
And this is a game between the two Irish players. So that was this one here.
Indeed. It is Thin Rose Leapfrog.
Yes.
Against Alice L, or Alice L against Thin Rose Leapfrog, rather. Yes. So Alice Lampard against May Caterby. Now this is now I think black's actually made a slight error in the opening. So knight bd7, h3, castles, bishop e2, and c5, and now d5. And this is you've always got to be careful with the combination of knight d7 and c5, because normally with black, what you'd want to do in this position would be to play e6. It's a typical modern Benoni move, and then we're going to take on d5 afterwards, and we get some counterplay. But when you've played the knight on d7 early, then white has the extra possibility of just taking on e6 and taking the pawn on d6. So that is actually a little bit inaccurate there. Normally what you would do, if you're going to do it, you'd play c5 and e6 takes d5, and only then develop the knight on d7. So what black has actually had to do here, in order to be able to play e6, black's had to play the knight to b6.
Okay, so it's a little bit tangled.
It's a little bit tangled. It's not a great square for the knight. I mean, the knight's going to have to go back later because, for example, after castles e6, well, let's just make a normal move, rook e1. If you go e takes d5, if I were to go c takes d5, The typical modern Benoni counterplay is to play b5, b4, and the knight's in the way simply. So
you might have to try something like c4 at some point.
Yeah, but not really.
It's better with c5 there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you play c4, then normally you'd have your knight. Your knight would actually be coming into c5 to come into b3, and here it's all trapped. So yeah, in principle, white's might be opening a bit more accurately there. So I do prefer white.
It's a little bit tricky for 10-year-old May Ketevan.
Indeed,
playing the black side here.
But the opening, it's just one phase, right? And, the rest of the game continues. But that's definitely a good thing to remember if ever you want to play the King's Indian, that if you play these c5 plans, you get your c5 and your e6 and your e takes d5 before playing knight bd7. Otherwise, you always fall for this weak d-pawn problem. Then we've got about a pawn against chess queen 960.
Yeah, I'm interested in how this game will go. Suzanne Barry had a good win against a higher rated player yesterday, and I'm actually thinking she's above her rating. Maybe she doesn't play so much on chess.com. Yeah, because I looked up and I don't know if she's Suzanne. There was a Suzanne Connolly that used to play. I'm just thinking because it's about the right age, and I don't know Suzanne Barry, but I don't know whether it is or isn't. But yeah, so Tashika Aurora has been playing lots of events here and is playing in the championship. So actually, I think this should be a very interesting game.
So yeah, rook and queen are attacking the knight on c3. So white needs to do something about that. One typical idea is to go knight d5 here. It's a typical trick because if queen d2, better get an analysis diagram up. So if queen takes d2, we've got this knight e7 check, king h8. Here, though, there is a slight interesting point to this one, because if I go rook takes d2, I go rook e8. And there is a little problem for this knight, because if I go knight d5, then I take and rook
Bishop
e3,
on 3 e3
and catch you on the way back. Now, what I could do in this situation is I could play this move bishop f4, and then if you go well, I'm threatening to go knight d5 now, and if you go rook e7, then I go bishop takes d6, and what I'm going to have is you're going to have the two bishops, but I'm going to have a rook and two pawns for the two bishops. Well, not clear really, but the nice thing about white's position is that this this pawn center is very strong, and I can play c4 as well. It's a very unclear ending. I mean, I think with two bishops, I think you always believe in black's position, but it's quite an unclear one. The other way that you could do it is to go bishop d2. Then I go rook e8, but it's actually quite similar, because if I go knight d5 here, well, it's not the e3 bishop that's hanging; it's the knight on d4. So so I mean, what you could do after rook c8 is you could go bishop b4, and you've got the same position but with a rook on d1 rather than d2. Not quite sure which one is best actually, because a rook on d2 is a bit exposed, but on the other hand, it's an extra tempo. But we get this rook e7, bishop d6 again. So that's quite an interesting little idea there. You could also meet knight d5. There's a couple of extra funny ideas. I mean, you could go knight takes d5. This is a towel sacrifice. He's done this in the King's Indian before. Knight takes e3, and you're hoping that you're going to get plenty of play, but it's not really that good. I think we just go rook d2, and well, we're covering everything. We could also meet knight d5 with with queen back to d8. But I think then that white plays something like bishop h6, and well, I think you've just you gain tempi. You're swapping off some attacking pieces. I think white would be would stand quite well there. Another idea might be to go takes, and bishop g5, and then follow up with h5. White would stand very well there. So I think if knight d5, it's pretty crucial that that this should work. So let's just have a look. I mean, I could just play rook d2 and try and claim that I'm going to be a little bit better in this ending. Is that true? Well, I would have thought black would be fine here. We've got some little weak pawns here that we can aim for, but in general, with the queens off, you think that
you like the bishop pair, really.
I always like the bishop pair, I have to say. So at knight e7, I said king h8. I'm just having one more idea. Interesting. I mean, one thing I could try after, just wondering which one I should do, rook d2, rook e8. I could try the move h5 here, which the idea would be
trying to trap this bishop.
Rook e7, h6, which would be very unpleasant for black, actually, because obviously there's dark square, problems all over the place. But I think that in this position, that black would be able to play knight takes e4 here. And if f takes e4, you go rook e7, and then if h6, you go bishop e5. You've managed to escape there, which I think would probably be would probably be an equal position. I think we win the bishop, but it's not too crucial. The reason I was sort of hesitating was I was wondering about h takes g6 ideas with possible rook mates on h7, but unfortunately here we'd have a knight takes d2 check, which would be rather unfortunate. I'm just wondering whether I can, could I do this same idea, h5 here? The problem is then that I could go knight takes h5 here, and this one is hanging. So yeah, I don't think this idea works with h5. I think this move knight takes e4 is quite good. But nice ideas, nice ideas. I think knight d5 should be the move. Oh, white's gone king b2.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm a bit nervous about that one.
Diagonal. Look at the long diagonal.
Diagonal.
So what, tricks with knight e4 at some point or something?
Yeah, I mean, it might be fine, but it really makes me very worried, I have to say. And black's played h5 to stop h5 from white. I would maybe... I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure what black would do otherwise. No, maybe h5 is just a good move. I mean, it's a very typical dragon move, and I mean, the nice thing about having the king on this file is that if white goes g4 in this position, which is quite common, then we'll take on g4. And the point is we start chipping away, at these. So h5, we go g takes f3, and then we can threaten stuff like queen c3 and knight e4 check and this sort of stuff. So yeah, no, I mean, in general, this looks pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, the knight d5 is possible here as well. I think you could play this. I mean, this is funnily enough. These lines suddenly become a lot more tempting because due to this pin on here, then actually rook takes c2 is a threat. Because but I reckon that I mean, after rook d2, you could go knight takes c2 and bishop takes d4 check. But you've got two bishops and a pawn for the queen, but it's not quite enough. But they really start doing that. Well, bishop h6 from white in this position, Mark. Actually, we're just going to take on here, I think. And after queen c3, we'd have queen takes c3.
Oh,
yes.
So
it's this king on b2 is really it feels very risky. It feels very, very risky indeed for white. It's not the sort of normal move that you want to make, I think. But well, we're going to see how that turns out. Let's have a look at GAH21 against elite player, and that's Nina Pert. Oh my goodness, this one's got sharp. Oh,
where's that bishop actually going?
Yeah, this is so this bishop on c2, black has grabbed a quick pawn, and the bishop has now been trapped. But of course, we played b5. So if bishop b3, then we just play knight takes b3 indeed. I'm in analysis board, aren't I? Yeah, that's right. Bishop takes b3. So, well, I mean, you could go bishop d2 and then recapture there, but that's the idea. Now, the only problem here is that I'm incredibly worried about knight g5 in this position. because I'm attacking f7, and I can't actually tell you how I'm going to defend that one.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, if you go f6, I mean knight e6 or bishop e6. You know, I mean they're both huge there. So
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really afraid for black here. I think this is going to be very, very difficult indeed for black. If white finds knight g5, then oh well, white's played knight e5, and that is not quite
same but different.
It's the same but different
because it's not.
We've got queen c7 now. This is the point, which we didn't have before when the knight could come to g5. So this is not so clear. So what is white going to do here?
I suppose the bishop can drop back, so white's not losing a piece.
No, white's not losing a piece, but this would be. I mean, this would still be. I mean, if I go bishop b3, we'll just take, and bishop d6. You know, develop.
Oh, it might be losing a piece, in fact.
So I mean, we really.
F6.
Yeah, I mean, we really need to have something good here for white, and I'm not too sure what it is. I mean, I'm looking vaguely at ideas like playing here and queen e4 actually, because then I'd be attacking the rook on a8. You know, that would be possible, kind of. But I mean, if I went bishop b5, I think I would probably stick in a little bishop d6 first. You know, and I don't know. This is not at all what white wants. So this could be a huge moment, actually. I think queen c7. I think black might even be better now. At the very least, black is not worse.
Yeah.
I can't think what white would do there. So, a huge moment there. Let's have a look.
So that's yeah. Okay. So this is Georgia Headlong against Nina Pert. Georgia is from a chess-playing family. So she is the daughter of Fenella Headlong, who you might know Matthew as Fenella Cohen way back.
Oh, good Lord. Wow.
And Nina Pert is even more from a chess-playing family.
Indeed.
Because she's the daughter of Richard Pert, one of the Pert twins.
Indeed. Let's have a look then. We've got a Pure Soul against the Curious Parrot, and this one's been quite a few moves already. So this was another King's Indian, and well, black has played very aggressively and looks a little bit better, maybe. Although I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think if we take this this pawn off and then line up, then yeah, I would imagine that we're probably going to end up in some sort of equal ending, I think. So aggressive play there from black, but I think we're probably going to see quite a bit of liquidation. So, okay, let's maybe have a look and see what's happened here. Okay. So after this we're back at Dagne against Ketevan. So knight c3, e5 was played, e4, c6. This is the classical main line, and yeah, white's got a few ideas here. b3 is possible, but h3 is far and away the main move here. And now black's got a number of possibilities. E takes d4 is a very common idea, but queen b6 is another main line, and that was indeed played by Ketevan. And I believe that the most famous game in this line is Botvinnik-Smyslov from about 1950, 51 or something like that. Let me just show you the game, assuming that I'm not misremembering, because it was quite a stunner if it's the game I'm thinking of. Let's just try and find that. Smyslov. You're going to see that I'm not quite remembering it right. Botvinnik-Smyslov. There we are. But it's not the one I'm thinking of. It was played by Smyslov against Botvinnik, but no. Dear me. Oh yeah, in actual fact, I do remember this. Smyslov once played 98 against Botvinnik, which is rather ugly. But anyway, Queen B6 is the main line. Smyslov did play Queen B6 in a game against Botvinnik, but doesn't seem to be exactly this variation. So what does White do here normally? Well, the most popular move here is Rook E1. This move C5 has also been played quite a bit, quite a sharp one. Oops, I'm terribly sorry. Let's bring up an analysis diagram on that one. So if we go C5 here, and then after D takes C5, we play D takes E5.
Okay, an interesting pawn structure there.
A very interesting pawn structure now.
Doubled E pawns and black with doubled C pawns.
Indeed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was actually a couple of very interesting games in this between Stockfish and Lila Zero in the TCC Computer Championship a few seasons ago, and funnily enough, both sides handled it completely differently, and both won as White. So yeah, it was. I think this is a very interesting line for White. Now, what Dagne did was is much calmer in actual fact. It's not the most popular option, but it's a very calm strategical line. It's the third most popular option. It's D5. So, I mean, in some ways, Black can claim a sort of success. You know, White has been forced to abandon the central tension. But on the other hand, you know, Black's queen on B6, it's attacking B2, which is nice, but it's also going to be a hit for White development with bishop B3 later. So White might just gain a few tempi back. So D5 in this variation, and then well, one of the most popular moves here, C takes D5 was played. And after C takes D5, Black goes Knight C5. Attacking the pawn on E4, and White plays Bishop D2. Knight D2 rather. Just
I was going to say Bishop D2 doesn't defend the pawn.
Knight D2, covering the pawn on E4. Again, one of the most popular moves. Queen E2 has been played just a little bit more, but Knight D2 is again quite popular. And Black plays Bishop D7. That's the most popular line as well. So this is quite an old-fashioned sort of line in a way. Both sides are developing quite naturally, and now it's got to try and see, you know, basically how to develop the queen side. There's a little bit of pressure on B2 from the queen on B6. White can put the knight on C4 to attack the queen, but if I went something like Knight C4 immediately, then Queen A6, you know, might be a little bit awkward. If I go B3, I could even go B5, for example, and chase the knight away there. The most common idea for White in this position is actually to play Knight B3, just intending to play Bishop E3, you know, and just well, we're just trying to get rid of this active Black Knight on C5. Other ideas that White has played. Ideas that occurred to me actually, I mean, something like A4 is not completely crazy, but on the other hand, I mean, I'd like to play Knight C4 and then Knight B5 afterwards, but on the other hand, you know, I'm weakening this square, and it might not be easy to get the queen out of B4. So, yeah, I mean, Knight B3 looks very sensible. Now, I'm interested, actually. Dagne is spending quite a bit of time now.
She is. I was just noticing. Yeah, she's well behind on the clock. So.
Yeah, I'm wondering, actually, whether she knows this position well, because, of course, Ketevan varied from her usual line. She normally plays Knight C6. She played Knight C6 against Raylin. And now she played Knight BD7. So it could well be that that Dagne wasn't expecting this and is now having to work this out.
I think that's wise, isn't it, of Ketty to just sort of sidestep and play another line she looks very comfortable with.
Exactly.
So she's not walking into any prep.
Exactly, and this is the way it's turned out. This is a very natural King's Indian play. I mean, we're playing knight d7 to c5, bishop d7. We're going to put a rook on c8. If you're Tal, then you play knight h5 and f5. It's quite natural. Whereas actually, these positions for white, they're slightly tricky because your bishop is on g2 now. If you play this position with a bishop on e2, then you're covering the d3 square, so the knight on c5 isn't active. If you play knight c4, then your knight is protected, so the queen can't go to a6. But with the bishop on g2, your queenside light squares are just a little bit loose there, a little bit weak. And it can actually be quite hard to just to work out how to chase black's pieces back on the queen side. And of course,
is there any mileage for white in trying to tuck the king onto h2 and then expand on the king side with f4?
That is the that is the choice of a Mora Gambit player. It's very, very risky. I mean, the problem with it is that king h2, maybe we go rook c8 or something, f4. I mean, we get stuff like takes and knight h5, for example. And I mean, the dark squares are just very weak around here. It's awkward. Oh,
hi there.
Hi. Indeed, they've just we just got slightly disconnected there, but he was back straight away. So I think we're still on air. Let us know, please, if you can still hear us. Otherwise, can you still see us on our stream, Natasha?
Yes, yes, we're there. The board went for a moment, but we're back.
Yeah, it's funny. I think our stream doesn't stop, but I think our connection to this website where we do the streaming lose that. I think that's why we. But I think this is quite. I think this would be very awkward for white. This sort of attack. Hey, wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Is there a possibility of getting an autographed copy of Game Changer? Well, I think that's it. I think that the simplest thing to do would be to buy a copy of Game Changer, and then we could maybe email you a sort of a little note of our with our signature on it.
Yes.
I think that would be the nicest way to do it, because getting stuff sent at the moment or anything like that
a little bit complicated right now.
Yeah, but if you yeah, look at this. I mean, look how incredible this festive attire is. And actually, Natasha is also, Andrew, you missed it, but Natasha is also very. I mean, look at that. That is a quite amazing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There we are. So we're both very good. But I have got the hat as well, of course, the pudding hat. So. But yeah, that would be the best thing, just to give us your email address, and then we would just be able to to scan in something and mail it to you, and you could stick it in. I think that would be the best way of doing it, because we're always very keen to support buying of Game Changers. That's always good. It's yeah, so I'm not very keen on a plan with F4, to be honest. I think what I'd really want to do
Sanyo Chessable edition. How do we do that?
That is a bit tricky indeed. That's the one. Actually, funny enough, some people have bought both. Merry Christmas, Justin. Some people have actually bought both digital and normal, and simply in order to be able to get a signature on the. If Chessable introduced that, that could be a killer feature. I think.
Ah, yes.
You could have a digitally signed version. That's a great idea, actually. So Dagne has played Queen E2, which is the second most popular move in this position, and Ketevan reacted immediately here with the move A5, which actually isn't the most common move. Rook FC8.
We've got a new theme for today.
Anna Rudolph
with Christmassy names. Anna Rudolph.
Indeed,
Very good.
Indeed. It's so Rook FC8 was played quite often in this position. A5 is very natural. I mean, that's and I think Ketevan's played it very, very quickly. Dagne thought for 9 minutes on queen e2, and Ketevan's just gone a5. And what is black aiming for here? Actually a4. If black gets this move a4 in, then it's going to be, for example, let's just say king h2, a4. Then it's going to be very difficult for white to establish a knight on c4 because queen a6, you've just got no control, and we're going to play b5 here. So that is a pretty reasonable move. The only thing I'm slightly interested in now is could we play knight c4, queen a6, and bishop e3?
Oh, yes. Janheim done it. Very good, very good. One of the reindeers.
So,
Sasha, yeah.
So actually what you're threatening here, in some sort of way, is something like knight takes e5, for example. But I think we could probably go, and we could go something like rook fc8 here. And then we're still threatening b5 here, and it's a tough one. I don't quite know how white's dealing with that. So yeah, I mean a5. I might have played rook fc8 or rook ac8 myself, but Daniel 3 kings.
Daniel 3 kings. Danny King. Very good, Richard.
Oh, well done, Raylin. So London King's Cross, waiting for your train back home. Great. Yeah, it's hard concentrating on stuff when you're walking. You always seem to walk into doors or something like that. It's actually my greatest walking into stuff story was I was playing the Benidorm Open in 1993, and it was a great hall. It was a lovely playing hall, but full of mirrors. And as I do, I was very, very intense in those days, like this. And as I got up, went to the toilet, and ran to the toilet because I was short of time, of course. I think this was the game where I had, sort of 2 minutes for 21 moves. So going to the toilet was a brave decision. And I looked up to myself, saying, "Who's that idiot coming towards me?" And it was me. And I went whack into the mirror and nearly knocked myself out. So didn't go to the toilet, went back to the game, and made all my moves in time, but yes. But still. Hey, Rama, how are things? But let's have a look. So Ketevan has.
But they do that sort of thing in chess boxing because they have the round of boxing, and then they've just been bashed on the head, and they're still managing to play the chess. But you find throughout the round the quality of the chess gradually goes downhill as they've been hit more.
I have to say that chess boxing is very, very scary. I have to say it is. I mean, I saw it once. I'd never seen any boxing live, and I mean, these boxers, they weren't at the peak of the boxing world, but frankly, those guys were so scary. I mean, they just looked enormous, and the power that they had, it was really I mean, you got finally a timely respect for anyone who indulges in boxing, because it looked so scary to me.
Well, I was doing the refereeing, and the first game I refereed, the chap had to withdraw because he got his shoulder dislocated in the boxing.
Oh my goodness! Goodness me! It's is that still going on, or was that still going on in chess boxing, or?
Yeah, I don't know about during lockdown, but it was.
No, it was still going.
Yeah,
It was, I think I saw it many years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So,
Klitschko, yes, that's the name. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good players. They're about
23. Yes.
They're about 2,300 as well, and players and fantastic boxers as well. Chess boxing still going on, says Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, still going on even now. Wow. Oh well, there's some entertainment for.
Dagne's played knight c4, so this is getting quite crucial. Let's do an event in September. Okay,
wow.
Says Andrew.
Okay.
Wow.
Very good.
So yeah, knight c4 has been played by Dagne, and then well, I think queen a6 is the move you played very, very quickly. And now we need to find a good move for white here. So I would have thought bishop e3, and then rook fc8. I think, because if you play b5 in this position, which is really natural, of course, then I think this move knight takes e5 works. D takes e5, bishop takes e5. So we go rook fc8, I think, just to defend this one. So these tricks are no longer working. And now we need to find a good move for white. It's not immediately obvious. B5 is coming. I mean, normally you'd want to play a move like A4, but I'm kind of expecting there to be too many tactics. It's not 100% clear because you've got knight B6 ideas. So if you go knight B3, maybe I could go something with knight B6, but it does feel very wrong there, really. So I wouldn't be surprised if black's got something there.
Yeah, so maybe black has the edge then in this position.
I quite like black here. Unless white's got something clever to do, then I definitely like black here because we're going to get him B5, and once we get him B5, we've got a lovely coordinated position. I mean, for example, let's just make this move there. I go B5, knight D2. I mean, I could play B4, but I could just play queen B7. Then I'm going to play B4, chase you away. This one's weak. When I play, let's just make a random move here. B4. I'm coming in with bishop B5.
B5,
everything's flowing like this. So I mean that's really that is really excellent there. So I think so far it's looking good for Ketevan, and she's quite a bit up on the clock. Now I'd expect her to play queen A6 quickly, and she does. 3 minutes, maybe could have played just a little bit quicker, but still look at that time advantage. 15 minutes advantage, and Dagne really needs to have a good concrete idea here. Otherwise, it's going to get quite difficult, I think. Okay, let's have a look at Imogen Dyson against Zoe Varney. So, this is going to get quite sharp, actually. So, Black Castle queenside, not holding back there. But white is looking quite fast, actually, with B5 here. Actually, yeah. I mean, let's play it. Let's try and play B5 here. Actually, how is that going to work? I mean, I've got to take this one. I mean, if you allow me to play B takes A6, then that's going to be rather unpleasant, I think. So A takes B5 takes. Knight D4, I guess, and then, the sort of obvious blitz move would be B6 here. So, I mean, if you go Knight B6, I just take, and these are horrific pawns. I mean, I'm going to go Bishop B2, Queen A4, Rook B1. I mean, this is really horrible. So, what you're hoping for is that there's something clever in this position. But I'm not sure there is because, if I tried to, I mean, Queen E2 would also be fine. But, I mean, I've actually just got B takes A7 here, which is rather ouchy. And a move like Bishop B3, trying to do something nice. I've still got BA7, so this is not looking...
not good for Zoe, then.
Not looking friendly at all. I think B5 just looks very, very strong. I mean, maybe you could play Knight B8 or something. That might be possible. Just try to, to hold like that. But I mean, I'm going to play moves like Rook B1. I mean, it's clear that my attack is going a lot quicker, and I'm not quite sure what Zoe is doing with the move Knight H7 because.
I mean, it must be to move her F pawn, right?
Yeah, but the problem is, with something like this, I go and then I've got this bishop
B7. Yeah.
Yeah. This Botvinnik bishop is, really going to going to be strong. So I'm really worried. I think B5 is very, very worrying indeed for black there. So we're going to see how that goes. White's played Bishop E3. That's possible as well, but I think maybe a touch too calm. I think we really could have gone for it already. Lara G against Secret Superstar. Okay. So, both sides playing very sensibly here. So it was this idea that I mentioned that White was just going to play E4 here and just get a knight in the center. Black's swapped off some more pieces, so plenty of space. I mean, Black's on the back 3 ranks, but with 2 knights exchanged, that's not too bad. There's still plenty of space. And here, yeah, maybe black could have doubled up straight away. I mean, black played rook f8 in this position. Maybe could have tried, rook e7 first of all, and rook d7, or not played rook e8 rather, just played rook d7 and rook d8. That could have saved a move, but no worries. Rook d7 now, and yeah, rook d8 is going to be quite a threat actually. This pawn on d4. So black's
It's looking pretty good for Trisha, I guess. With that pawn being a little bit weak.
Yeah, I mean the question is whether we've got some clever stuff with a g5 or an f5 or something like that. That's the key point. If we've got something like that, then we could it might be okay for white. We might have some good attacking chances. If we don't have that, then actually white might be a little bit awkward, because it's going to be not easy to hold that pawn on d4. I'm looking at it. I'm not really sure. I mean, if I go h4 here,
yeah,
I go rook d8. Oh, wait a minute. Bring up the analysis board there. If I go h4, to play g5 next move, then I just go rook d8, and g5 I'll just take on here. So we are a little bit slow there. I could go rook d2. And we've got so rook d8, rook d1. We're holding, but yeah, c5 is close. Doesn't quite work. Maybe I could go queen a5, for example.
To try and play c5.
Oh yeah, but actually, white's got this move d5 here actually. So okay, yeah. Interesting. Maybe we're just are we just holding there? It's possible. It feels risky, it really does feel risky. But of course, if white can hold it, and white's threatening probably to go h4 and then maybe g5 at some stage. That might be possible. I mean, I was looking at playing c5 takes rook d2, but I mean, we could even play, for example, rook d2 cb, and after rook there,
yeah,
then I'd have b takes a7.
Oh gosh, that trick again.
So that trick again
in a different game.
In a different game, indeed. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe just rook d2, and we're just in time and still solid. That would be yeah, that would be very nice indeed. Of course. One other idea.
Watching out for b takes a7 in these matches.
Indeed. One other idea, by the way, is to play queen d8, which also attacks d4, of course, but more importantly, it stops h4 because of bishop h4. So that would maybe give you a bit of extra time to to line up, just because you're holding back a white advance. I mean, at some stage, you might get white playing a move like f5, takes. With the idea of playing d5 afterwards. The only thing is that there's a few risky things with bishop g5 to e3, or bishop h5. When the bishop covers this diagonal, which could be a little bit awkward. It's a sharp position. It's going to be. We're going to see how that one goes. Now let's have a look. This is Alice Lampard against May Ketevan. So we said that that this knight on b6 was maybe not that well placed, but black's managed to get quite a bit of activity.
The bishops are the bishops are well placed.
Bishops are well placed, and plenty of opportunity to harass the white rooks there. So it's actually quite a sharp position. White's just played bishop f4 here, attacking this this pawn on d6. So black will have to think what to do about that. The problem with these positions, if you go bishop c3, for example, yeah, I could easily take on d6, give up the exchange, and there's lots of weak dark squares. Rook a d8 is a better move. And now, what are we going to do with white here? How are we going to play this? I mean, ideally, just in general, I mean, a4 would be quite a nice move just to stop a5 to a4 and make this one passive. But if we do go a4, we've always got to watch out for bishop c2 type ideas. Now, of course, rook d2 here would actually win a bishop, you know, so that's not. But what you could do is just to play a move like bishop c3 first. And if rook f1, you go bishop c2. And if rook c1, you go rook takes e2 there.
Yeah.
So bishop c3, we could go bishop d2. But it's looking a little bit awkward for white, isn't it? I mean, it's a little bit uncomfortable there.
Yeah, because you could.
So I think we've got to find a better way for white really to get developed. Now, knight g5 might be an idea. Again, now the problem is if bishop c2, rook d2, bishop c3, then unfortunately the knight's no longer covering e1. So rook c2, bishop e1 is possible. And I was sort of vaguely hoping I'd have some sort of nice knight move here, but I can't really see it. I mean, it's just that this bishop is rather... I mean, I can play king f1, bishop b4, and this bishop's really awful here. You know, it's... if I go a4, you're sort of wondering, you know, when is this bishop ever going to get back into life? But on the other hand, I'm not quite sure how wonderful the stuff is that I can do. So I could go f3, I suppose, and just look for knight e4. Or that's interesting. It's not completely crazy. But knight g5, well, yeah, I mean, that would give up the exchange, which you might want to see whether you can do something else. Knight somewhere. I mean, knight d2, obviously we've got bishop c2, which is annoying as well. I think black's doing all right, actually. I think,
Yeah.
you know, I think black's active enough here to cause problems. Yeah, bishop d3. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking bishop f3 then, and that's going to make it very hard to make anything of it, I think. Yeah. I don't think there's any real chances there. So looks like black's done quite well. Ooh, wait a minute, what's happening here?
Oh, this game.
Good lord. Yeah, I said I was a bit nervous about the king coming to this diagonal, and well, it looks like stuff has happened. King h8. Ooh, interesting.
This is Suzanne against Tashika.
Indeed. Rook c7, knight de2. Ooh, yeah. White's playing a little bit slowly there. I would have said that. Yeah, I mean, this move knight d5 was interesting. Or if you're going to do something, then knight d2 and bishop h6, you know, to swap off the dark squared bishops. Somehow white's played quite slowly here, and black's very logically piled up on the c file. Now, a dramatic move like knight g4 followed by rook takes c3 would have been possible, I think, already. But knight h7 is just very, very strong. And now we've piled in here. And this is going to be carnage. This is going to be mate within a few moves.
Yeah, that king has really no
left. I mean,
just
there's no... I mean, just rook takes f somewhere. Wherever the queen goes, we chase it with a discovered attack. So, and queen c1 is possible, but then we go rook b3.
b3, yeah. Queen
b3 and queen c3 mate. So, yeah, I think this is... going to be a big win for Aurora Tashika against Suzanne Barry. Now, indeed, what happened here? This was actually what happened was so there was this big moment in the opening where knight g5 would have won for white, but white played knight e5, allowing the queen to come back to c7 and defend it, because the this diagonal is sort of blocked now with a knight on e5, whereas with a knight on g5, that wouldn't have been the case. And actually, the game continued. It was a variation that we'd looked at, ab3, bishop d6, and suddenly white is the one who's pinned along this diagonal, not knight.
That knight's in danger.
Pinned there, and after d4, f6 was played, and black picked up a piece. And looking at the rest of the game here, we're currently
been plain sailing since then.
It's been plain sailing since, really. Black is actually still and looking very, very good. So that should be, you would have thought, a win for
Nina.
For Nina, elite player. Bishop a7, so f4 is hanging now. So well, I still got a pawn for a piece, but that shouldn't be enough, of course. This should just be a win for Black. Then we've got Pure Soul against the Curious Parrot, and well, this is looking very, very good for Kate against Rida Rukaya, because White is 2 pawns up with absolutely dominating pieces here, whereas Black's pieces are not very good at all. So yeah, expecting a White win there. Lots of decisive games today, I think. Okay, so
all right, she's got b5 in.
Got b5, and Dagne has got your plan with f4. So
yes, there you go. We can see if her king side holds up with this plan.
So this is quite risky, actually. I'm wondering actually whether in this position, whether is b4 already very, very strong here, because so I go queen a6. I think that's forced. Rook a6, and I've got to decide where your knight's going to go. But if I go knight e2, I can go bishop b5. And there's a few problems here. I mean, bishop f3, I can just go knight takes e4, for example, because this one's hanging. And if you go rook e1, then you're going to regret having played f4, because I'm going to take like this and come here. So, so that is actually quite scary. So you might have to play a move like knight d1.
Okay, well, then our knights are at least defending each other. Yeah,
but then I'm going to take and go rook e8, and you're really going to have problems defending this pawn, because if you go knight f2, then I'm going to go knight f4 there. So
you need to counter-attack somehow. But even that, because that bishop on g7 is also always looking at the pawn on b2, so we can't even get out that bishop on c1 very easily.
Oh, Raylin, you want us to review the games from yesterday? We'll have a look to see what we can do. It's just that yesterday we decided to give the seniors a bit of attention in the Major Open, and so we didn't do the women's event yesterday. It's so yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's just we try and do 2 streams a day. And yesterday we did the seniors event, the under 50s, under 65s, and also the Major Open, and even the under 1400 as well. We had a little look at, didn't we?
We did. We'll see if these games are all very, very quick. We'll see what we can do.
Exactly. Yeah. But this is very, very unpleasant, actually. So yeah, and Ketevan has played b4. Yeah,
she's played it. Okay.
Yeah, this is really very difficult.
It does look like White's going to need to swap queens.
I mean, the problem is actually, I mean, if I go queen a6, rook a6, sorry, we were on our analysis board. And for example, if I did something like knight b1, for example, to try and come around to d2, for example, I could probably oh no, I'm just I was actually wondering whether I could go takes and takes here, and bishop e5 and just pin you with g5. Here I still got knight c4, but I mean these tactics are really starting to I don't know, knight d3, or I probably just want to.
You're saying you don't like f4.
No, f4 I really don't like.
I think that's what you're saying.
It's you've watched both streams, Raylin. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. That's really, really nice to hear. So yeah, no, I mean, in these positions, I do think that the key thing in these positions is you've got to be solid first of all. And when you've got your bishop on a diagonal like this, it's not to make a kingside attack. It's to keep your whole position solid. And so you really need to, this is more for positional style than really aggressive attacking style. So Ketevan looking very, very good there with black, head on time and with virtually a winning position, I think. So let's have a look. Oh, okay, we've got this.
This was Imogen Dyson against Sarivani, and
yeah.
we were liking it for white a moment ago.
Indeed. So so white played it just a little bit slowly. Played knight g5, knight g1. White's playing quite cautiously there. But b5, of course, the big advantage of having got this exchange is that the knight can't come to d4. Knight to b8. White played. It's a little bit tougher for white to open stuff. I would have played. I think we can do it on the next move actually. Oh, rook b1. Oh dear, actually. There's kind of a tactic here because black's played b6. Now,
take on b6.
I was going to give us a little quiz for our viewers, but b takes a6 indeed. Knight a6 and rook takes b6. Bang is the move that's in there, because after takes we've got knight takes b6, forking these two. And I'm trying to work out actually.
Has this been played already?
Not yet. White's thinking. So the only way that you could try.
Oh gosh. Yeah. If we don't recapture. And then we've got another A7 coming in.
Indeed. It's not quite finished yet because, but it's quite nice actually. If you go knight A6, quick tactical quiz for you viewers. White to play and win in 3 moves. Not mate, but after 3 moves, it's absolutely clear. A little bit of a variant on the theme we just saw basically. So I'm going to count down now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, going to reveal the solution, which is.
I would go knight takes. I think knight takes b6. But you could also try rook takes b6.
Rook takes b6 is the strongest.
Okay.
Rook takes b6 is the strongest, and after takes we play a8 queen. And after queen takes a8, we go knight takes b6, forking.
Very good.
So that's very, very strong. So actually, after b takes a6, I think queen c6, a7, we have to go knight d7, which feels very, very, very scary. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, black's playing king b7 and then rook a8. So
all right. So you might still.
Whew. How are we going to do this?
She's good at defending though, Zoe, because I know I had this game against her and I was attacking her all the way, and I really thought I was about to mate her, but she escaped in the end. And then
here Raylin's d4 might be very interesting now, because you're a little bit actually you are quite nastily blocked here. Threatening d5. I think we've got to go bishop takes c4 there. I mean, I wouldn't recommend this to friends and family, I have to say. A movement maybe like queen c2, for example. And we're just going to line up with rook c1. I mean, that could be very, very, very unpleasant there. If you go b5, I'll just go bishop b5, go rook takes b5. If you go bishop d5, I just go e takes d5 and then a8 queen. Yeah. So yeah, I think b takes a6, and we're going to have very big problems. Oh, black has won this game. So chess queen 960 has won this game with this big dragon attack along the long diagonal. This is a sort of game I think that makes you very keen on the dragon. You know, that's you just can't. Yeah, you just when you've enjoyed attacking along the long diagonal like that, you just always want to do the same again. So well done, chess queen 960. Hard luck about a pawn. Imogen against horsey chess. Oh, we've got b takes a6 on the board.
Okay. So this is looking, I think, still very good for white.
Well, absolutely. This is completely winning, I think. Yeah, I mean, A7 is a real threat, just picking up a piece, as well as Rook B6, So I do think Queen C6, A7, Knight D7 is going to be the only move, but I think then this move D4 is going to be too strong.
Yeah,
it's just, very, very awkward indeed. So yeah,
never mind. Well, Zoe's got. I think she plays Matthew. No, not Matthew Wadsworth. She plays this evening. She plays William Claridge Hanson.
Okay, that's
a very attacking player.
Indeed, that's. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, here, indeed, secret. Lara G did indeed play double up on the D file here. Now I'm just seeing, just looking at you for a moment, because is the A2 pawn hanging here?
Yes.
Indeed, the A2 pawn is hanging. I'm trying to work out whether there's something that can be done with that. Well, I mean, if there is something, then it's going to be D5, threatening a little bishop F6. But I'm not really sure about it. Bishop D2? Bishop E2? That doesn't look very convincing, really. I mean, after Rook B2, I go Queen A3, and there's this pin on here, really. So, you can't do anything with the D pawn. So, yeah, I think Queen A2 just wins the pawn.
Will she be brave enough to take it?
I mean, you can get the A7 pawn back, but then you lose 3 and C4. So yeah, that looks quite awkward there for the white player. We've got Alice L against Thin Rose Leapfrog. So bishop C3, bishop D2, bishop B4. That's an interesting idea from black. Now I'm saying because I mean, the bishop was lovely on that long diagonal. Instead of D5, is Rook A1 possible? Yeah, I think if we go Rook A1, I think I just take here. And I don't think I'm getting trapped or anything. And I'm threatening. I mean, I'm actually threatening Queen. I mean, I could even do it immediately. I could even do it immediately if I'm particularly keen. I can take, and go bishop takes D4 as well. So, I mean, that's probably a bit too flashy. I mean, I should just take on B3. But I mean, it's that's in the position as well. So, yeah. That's yeah, I think this is White's in real trouble now.
Looking good for Trisha.
Yeah, I mean, this move bishop B4, I mean, it's quite nice. I mean, if bishop B4, I can take back with the A pawn, I think, or even take back with the C pawn and get a nice square on C5 for my knight. So that's quite nice. But it's just that the bishop was so nice on B2. It was really restricting these white rooks, and now the rooks have got a little bit more space.
And I know you were saying earlier this the bishop on B4 didn't really have anywhere to go. So if you can exchange it off, that might not be such a bad thing for black. And
yeah,
also gives the knight a square. So,
I mean, what actually would have been vaguely possible. I mean, you could have taken on F3 in this position. You could have gone bishop F3 in this position. Takes here. Rook check takes, rook check.
Yeah.
And then you go knight D7. And I mean, you've got no problem whatsoever. I mean, that's with black. You could also go A4 maybe, which is interesting as well. But that would maybe be a little bit too early. But yeah, bishop B4, interesting. It's yeah, after bishop takes B4. Yeah, I mean, AB. Then we've got some pressure on the A file, and maybe I even prefer C takes B4, and then just bring my knight round to D7 C5, and then afterwards I'll be A4 pressure B3. That might also be interesting. So yeah, some interesting lines there. So black doing quite nicely, I think. Black is now a piece up. Sending full piece up. Just got to watch out for one thing, of course. That shouldn't really play any role whatsoever, but it's the wrong coloured bishop for the rook's pawn. So no swapping off the g pawns and then swapping off knight.
Well, but the other thing you have to think about is if white could somehow engineer to swap off the pawns, even at the cost of giving up the bishop, and seeing if Nina knows how to mate with a bishop and knight against a king, because that's a. I think she will, but it that can be difficult.
I'm gonna bet that Nina knows that one very, very well. I'm sure if Richards is listening to the stream, he's going to confirm that. Yeah.
I've told this story lots of times, but I will once more. I was playing in a World Junior Championship. And it was like this actually. It was one I had. The opponent had one pawn left, Christina Jensen from Denmark, and I had the bishop and the knight. And in those days, you can't do it these days, but in those days we were going for adjournment at the end of the day. And my coach was English Grandmaster David Norwood, who was always a very entertaining coach. And I came away from the game and he was shaking his head he was like, "You play for England and you don't know how to mate with a bishop and knight." I was like, "Well, you can teach me it." And are you serious? You don't know how to mate with a bishop and knight? And it turns out he didn't know it either. And so he's asking all the different countries, do they know how to mate with a bishop and knight? And everyone, no. But then there was one country and they did, and they were showing us all these tricks. And then David, true coach that he was, he took my opponent out for dinner and convinced her to resign because obviously I knew how to do it. So I never actually by that stage I did know how to mate with the bishop and knight, but I never had to prove it.
Yeah, he's Dave said that one of the people that he asked was Arakhamia, so Vladimir Arakhamia,
yes.
A very strong Armenian player, and he said, "Do you know how to mate with knight and bishop?" And Arakhamia just looked at him like, "Are you crazy? Of course I know that."
What are you asking? Yeah, this is a trick question.
Who wouldn't know? He just didn't understand what Dave was asking, but I think he was the one who taught Dave. You showed Dave the rudiments.
It was yeah, and then in the end it was I don't know. I think the Danish team or something. No, it can't have been the Danish team, obviously, because that was Christina was Danish. It was like a whole team of them were teaching us how to mate with the bishop and knight, and make the W and make the box and yeah.
It's a fantastic
because of course Mike Hennigan didn't know either. It was all of us we didn't know.
That is appalling, actually. I mean, all these really strong players, Grandmasters, IMs, and oh dear me, yeah, the English chess school has got a little bit to learn there. Pure soul against. That's gone quickly. That was indeed the position that was very, very good for white. 2 pawns extra, and this is converted, and I could see both clocks flashing, so it looked like they were both disconnected. But actually, there have been a few disconnections on chess.com today, I think, but all looking good there. So that's going to be a win for white. That's looking good. Ooh, good lord, Mad Alien Dagne against Ketevan. So 23 minutes to 3. What did
pieces coming in?
Actually, this was the line that we said, wasn't it? Takes take.
Yes, deflecting that bishop so that if the bishop took on e4, we could take on e2.
Indeed, rook e1, and now f5 from Ketevan, just solidifying this knight on e4.
So this is looking really nice for top seed Grandmaster Arakhamia.
Yeah, this is wonderful. This is this is a fantastic King's Indian. My goodness. So, but Dagne is a very good defender. She really is. She's really capable of of defending very, very toughly. So I'm sure she's going to put up a hell of a resistance. But yeah, in principle, this is really, really good. I think I've got a few moves I might want to play. I mean, bring the rook over to the c file is quite tempting. I might also play bishop c4 in this position. This is another one, just attacking d5 since the knight has moved away. And if the knight comes to e3, I'll just go to d3, and I've just improved, the position of my my bishop there for free. That's possible as well. There are, obviously many ways to do this. Another idea could be interesting idea would be go knight c5 to d3. And then afterwards you'll play e4. That would also be very good. I mean, there's loads of good stuff there. It's but always, as always, finishing off winning positions. That's always tricky. Oh, actually, rook c8 looks very strong now that the knight's moved away. I'm threatening rook c2. Always tricky, but I think I'm pretty sure that Ketevan's going to finish this one off without too many difficulties, because it's a really beautiful position. Let's have a look. Image. Oh, what happened there? So b takes a6, queen c6, a7, knight d7, and then I was saying I thought d4 was maybe quite good. Well, White played it a little bit more cautiously. Went queen c2,
yeah,
queen a8, and then went d4. So it's a little bit
still looking really good for White.
Still looking very good. Yeah.
Look at this diagonal opening now against the black queen on a8.
So f6, tough defense, just giving the bishop some room to get away. c5, d takes c5 takes, b takes c5. Ooh, knight takes e5, queen takes a7.
Got rid of that pawn.
Indeed.
That's good. That's good for black.
Let's just have a little analysis diagram. See whether we can. I'm just wondering after b takes c5 whether knight c5 was the strongest, or whether we could do something better. I mean, what just occurred to me was that you could play h4 in this position. Maybe
okay, taking away the defender of the bishop.
Well, that's right. The only thing is that I've just realised is that after h4, you maybe don't need to take, actually, because you've got takes there, and
that's probably maybe that was White's plan, and she just thought about that.
Otherwise, do we have anything? There must be something. You would have thought there must be just something decisive here, surely. Not completely. I mean, we could double up on the b file, but I'm not seeing immediate mate. I mean, it's not immediate mate there. I mean, it's all very, very strong, but wouldn't it be nice to have a clear mate somehow? Okay, knight takes.
What if you give up for your rook on b8 and bring the other rook in?
That's quite a nice little idea, I suppose. Takes. That would be very.
You always put knight in on c5 at the end if the king comes out, or even now.
That is quite dangerous, yeah. And we're going rook b1 and bishop f1. That's not bad at all. That could be very awkward. It's just I'd expect there to be just something kind of immediately decisive, really. But I don't actually see it. I mean, playing rook b5 and rook b1 would also be very interesting, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's have a look. So White's played knight c5 anyway. Let's have a look at that one. I mean, knight b7 is quite is a reasonably tempting one. I'm throwing knight d8 and also knight d6 as well.
Yeah.
Of course, you can sacrifice the queen, and it's going to last a little while before you finish that one off. So that's where you sort of think about trying to do something else. 96, we've got 96. I mean, that's, again, very, very strong indeed for white, but not 100% decisive. Yeah, maybe knight b7 would be the best. If you go something like rook f8, I go rook fc1. That's just really, really strong. So after knight b7, you're probably going to go queen b7. I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And then maybe rook c1. It's not silly. And then, you've probably got to go c5, I think, then, because I'm threatening queen c6. So c5. Maybe then I go h4, and just, and I'm going to come in with knight e2 to c3 to d5. I mean, this will just be decisive in the end, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But surviving. Oh, okay. Knight c5, knight a4 was played. That's a very calm move, actually. That's a very calm, restrained move. Just going to build up the pressure. Not bad at all. Queen e3 was played, which is a little bit materialistic. Rook fc1, queen a7. Okay. So now I think what the reason black took that pawn was this diagonal is open, so there's always some sort of checks that could happen.
And the other thing was, right, on our stream yesterday, we said if we're defending and we get into this horrible position, we can't do much about it. We might as well take the extra material and see what happens.
Indeed. So queen c6, that's a very strong move. Actually, white's idea here now is to play this move bishop f1 to a6. So actually, I'm kind of thinking that this is almost completely gone, actually. I think bishop f1 now is just winning, because if queen f2...
Queen f2, we just drop in on h1.
Yeah, king h1, and I'm threatening mate on c7, on b7, on everything. So I think bishop f1, and it's game over. I think it's going to be a white win there.
You can go for questions, Rama Krishna.
Okay, so that's now this game. We got d5 in this game, so black did take the pawn on a2. We got d5, takes, queen a3, rook e1, pinning, rook d e7. Rook d e7. Wondering about that one, because we could actually play d takes c6 here now.
Getting the pawn back.
Which is not looking too bad at all for white now. Okay. Oh well, that's worked. That has actually worked out quite decently for white there. Okay.
So what's the idea? Is black trying to how to attack?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually, because if it takes, we'll just go. We'll just go. Takes here. We'll just take back, I guess. Bishop c6. Then I think we should really attack that bishop, because if we just move away. Oh no, this one's protected though. So that's actually quite decent. So we could just go rook d8. Yeah, unclear position really. It's the white king's a little bit open. The white position's a bit loose. But we got I don't know. Maybe we go back here. We move our pawn up. It's everything to play for both sides. It's sharp position. Pure Soul has actually won there, delivering mate. So a good win there. Just these two decisive results so far. Let's have a look. What's happening on the board one. Yeah, Ketevan did actually do this. She went knight g2, bishop c4, knight e3, bishop d3, just improving the position of the bishop. H4, rook a7, improving the position of the rook. Very, very calm, very good play there. And now white has played knight g1.
Redeploying out to f3 and then perhaps e5 or g5.
I mean, I feel very tempted just to take here.
Yeah.
And after takes, either rook c7, or actually a4, because a3 is going to be a monstrous threat. Because the bishop's covering this one, and the obviously the bishop's on this diagonal. So yeah, either I think probably rook c7 feels like the best thing. I mean, you get all your pieces active simply, but yeah, I think either one of those is going to be really, really strong there. So Ketevan's still looking good, and still plenty of time here.
You might. So what would you do? Oh, because even if you go a3, black can just go b3, and that rook on a1 still can't get anywhere.
Yeah, and this b2 pawn. I mean, the bishop on c1 is never going to move.
Really, yeah.
So,
so those two pieces are both just immobilized.
Queen a4 idea, yeah, for black. Bogdan didn't see it either. Ah, yes, I remember that game yesterday. Yeah, I think that queen a4. I don't know. I have to check it with the engine actually, but I think that queen a4 was the most offered the most chances there. It was going to be very, very unclear that game. It was very, very, very interesting. It was very good what you did, by the way, going e takes f5. Very brave decision to do that, but at least you force black to take some action and give up some stuff in order to achieve some stuff. So that was a really good, a really good try yesterday. Did very well there. Have you finished already? Oh no, of course you're not. You're playing this evening. Sorry, I'm getting confused there. So how do grandmasters find novelties? I don't know really. We
using computers these days, I would say.
Using computers. Yeah, no. There's oh, okay. Equal after queen a4, and there's a really subtle way to get +1 for him. Okay. Yeah, it was certainly tricky. I mean, it was a very difficult problem for Bogdan. And I think set him very difficult problems, and he just couldn't quite deal with them all. So that was very good. It was really good. Yeah, no, how do grandmasters find novelties? Yeah, computers suggest a lot of moves. I mean, I think it depends a little bit what if you're talking about super serious novelties. I mean, that takes lots of work and a strong computer, I think. There are lots of just normal novelties, new ideas, things that haven't been tried before in certain positions, and those are often just thinking about as a matter of course, just thinking about the position. But I'm not sure novelties are really. I don't know whether novelties are really the big thing nowadays. I think it's more being able to play lots and lots of different openings, and so that nobody ever knows. So that for the opponent, that what's happening feels like a novelty, even if it's no before, because he can't actually predict what you do. I think that's the most important thing nowadays. I mean, occasionally you see people with these huge theoretical ideas, but I think it's more from a practical point of view. It's more being able to play everything and being able to confuse your opponent. That's the most important thing. So what have we got here? Oh no! Oh, good lord!
Right.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure bishop f1 was winning on the spot there.
Oh.
But so white actually played knight b6, takes, got hit by bishop e8.
Interesting.
Queen c5, rook d7, rook b1, knight e6, exploiting this pin.
Yeah.
Zoivani, very short of time, by the way.
Yeah, 20 seconds left.
So,
okay, white should drop the queen back.
Yeah, could have dropped the queen back. But white, in actual fact, played rook b8, takes, and has actually got 2 rooks there.
Interesting.
But it has made another mistake here, because after queen b5.
Yeah.
Oh no! Actually, this is quite clever, because this knight is actually falling by force. Check, king there, queen b3, queen takes e6.
Okay. Yes.
f7, queen a6, king there.
So so this is a material. So what have we got? We've got white has a queen and a knight, and black has 2 rooks and a pawn. So that should, on balance, be good for white.
Yeah, I mean, the only
white needs to activate these pieces.
I mean, the only difficulty about it, about this position for white, is that well, the second rank is open, so it's slightly yeah, you just got to be a little bit careful there. But white's playing this very well, actually.
Yeah.
So threatening Queen A6, Queen A8 mate, keeping hold of this one, and well, you are going to have Bishop F1 to A6. But very important to very important to try and keep black's pieces bottled up, because if the rooks get active, you might have some difficulties. Now black's played Rook D8.
What, drop the bishop back now to activate?
Well, if you drop the bishop back, I'm just wondering, that would be the logical move. But you can go Rook D2 check, King H1, and then do something like Rook E8, for example. And if Bishop A6 check, then you go King D8. And you're still surviving,
Yeah.
So maybe after Rook D8, I might be tempted to go Knight F3 actually, and just cover this one, and then bring my bishop into A6.
Yeah.
To like that. That might be the best way. I could also just go Knight E2 is also very tempting, to go Knight C3 into D5. That's another tempting move. Very, very good for white though, but of course, but black, desperate last gasp defense really. Oh, this one's got very interesting. So Bishop C6, Rook B8, Rook A2, F5, Bishop H7. It's all over the place now. It's pawns hanging and pieces restricted. How are we going to do this? I mean, black's always got this move Queen B6 to swap off queen, so that's always a sort of a fail-safe. And of course, Queen takes C4 is also a threat. So, I mean, one idea might be to play this move Bishop D5.
Oh, interesting.
Just
Yeah.
trying to go F takes C6. That's one possibility. I can, of course, what I can do is I can also take on A7 here, because after Rook A7, Queen A7, I'm attacking this Rook on B8. And I mean, something like Queen B6 check. I mean, here I could do this idea again, Bishop D5, because E takes D5, Rook E8 is mate.
Yeah.
However, what you could do, I've just noticed, whoops, is you could go Bishop F5 then, takes, which obviously
yeah, that's clever. Yeah.
Not very good at all. So takes Rook B6. I suppose I could just go something like Bishop G2. And I mean, it's a little bit annoying for black.
Yeah. You don't want to play EF5 anyway.
No, definitely not.
Same problem. Rook to E8.
Same trick
checkmate.
there. I'm not sure this is the ending that you'd really want to play with black. Maybe a safe move like Rook F8 is better.
Yeah, I reckon black will. If we haven't got there yet, I think black will keep queens on.
Yeah, this safe move Rook F8 is probably quite good. I mean, I'm threatening Queen C4, also threatening EF, which will also activate this bishop. So, but we could play a move like Queen C5, because after E takes F5, come on, Natasha.
Yeah, same thing. Queen takes F8, check, and Rook E8, mate.
Indeed. So, but I mean, there's tricks in there, but I mean, I could maybe go Rook C8 in that position, and have a little pin here. I would expect black to be able to survive, simply because there's so much loose space here, and you really think that black should be able to make something of this. It's going to be a sharp little one. Oh, we've seen another loss there. So yes, Nina Pert has actually won this black game as black.
Okay.
Going to deliver.
Didn't have to prove she could mate with bishop and knight against king.
Exactly. It's
know that she can.
So what have we got here? Ah, yes, we have got this Rook D2 to B2. Oh, and look at Zoe Varney. She's counter-attacking with a Bishop E4 here. Yeah, that's why I was a bit nervous about letting this Rook into D2. Because and Zoe Varney's found an excellent defensive idea here. This Rook is covering mates on B7, and also cutting off this king. Sorry, cutting off this king. Cutting off this king along the second rank. So
couldn't white go bishop d3 to stop bishop e4?
Ooh, that's that.
Oh, there's a pin. Yes, I see now. Oh, no, that's not so bad. No, that's all right.
Queen b5 check. So this is a good move, I think. This would be a very sensible move. Now, white's got loads and loads of time, so that's very well played from that point of view, and should have a possibility to, I mean, should be capable there of finding the correct move. But after bishop d3, queen d3, you've still got to win it, right? Because your knight's very passive and all of that. It would have been great to get your knight already active before giving black this sort of counterplay. Ooh, we've had bishop d5 here. It's one of the tactics we mentioned.
White this is Lara against Trisha.
Indeed. So white playing a little bit flashy there with this little move here, because after e takes d5, rook takes e7 will be good. I mean, we could just play rook e8 here, actually. I mean, that would be possible, although actually maybe the idea
take on a7.
Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm looking at being a bit crazy, but so after bishop d5, if we go rook e8, you could actually just go rook a7 here, and we still got this pin. E takes d5, I've got rook takes c7, and if takes, I take here, and I've still got this pin.
Yeah.
Now, the only slight thing I'm wondering about is whether we've got some sort of subtle queen move, but I'm not sure, because queen c3, I could actually just go back to f2, for example, and I'm covering everything. So bishop d5, but do we have something clever here? I mean, in all fairness, I mean, if you play a move like queen b4, for example, and you take here, it's not so clear. King h8. I mean, with so much, so much open space and all of that, I wouldn't say that this was a clear win for white at all. I mean, actually, you're equal in pawns, So, and this queen move attacks this rook on e1, so the queen can't move away from here. So
you can actually take it, if you wanted to swap, because you've got rook b1 at the end.
Yeah, you're also threatening that as well. So I think it's just quite sharp. Black's played rook be8, so I think here that rook takes a7 is possible, and I think white's probably white must be a bit better here now. I mean, black's just got to watch out, because obviously if you don't get this this bishop on h7 sorted, then very, very passive. Yes, so white did find bishop d3, and I mean, still playing well, and this is a very good idea to keep on harassing this rook. Don't give black the time to get the other rook active. Just keep on harassing it, and you might get some extra little tactics on the way. With a queen b3 and a sudden check. So all good stuff from white, playing very well. What's happened here? Black sacrificed a piece here. My goodness, look at this. So Ketevan went knight takes.
How did this go? Okay.
Takes, check. F3, rook g7, knight e2, bishop e4, king f2, f4. My goodness, Ketevan.
She's going for it. She's really going for it.
She really went for it. I mean, in principle, you sort of say,
she doesn't need to.
Was this really necessary? It's just, but I think it's probably very strong. You see, it's once a tactical hacker, you don't change. You don't change your colors. So I'm guessing rook g2, king f1, and now f3 would be my guess. So. And this is very strong. This is very strong. But so the idea is knight e5. There's f takes e2 mate. That's the basic idea. However, what I'm just wondering about is Well, actually, this would be knight e5. I go rook takes f4 here. If bishop f4, I've got bishop d3 check. And if you go knight takes e5, I just take. And bishop f4, I've got bishop d3 check. So this actually seems to be completely winning.
She's got her eye on the brilliancy prize as well, hasn't she, Ketty?
Indeed, indeed. She's played f3. This is a gorgeous game. This is a really nice game. I'm slightly shocked about sacking a piece in this position, and finishing it off with a sacrificial mating attack. It looks, excellent. So
knight f4, why not?
Knight f4. Is there another way? Actually, no, you don't need to overdo it. Rook f4 is simple and good. I would recommend this move now. Indeed, whack. That one's played. Wow, GM Ketevan Arakhamia Grant is really showing that that attacking flair. Just d takes e5 is going to be the move. And it's just completely hopeless. I mean, we're threatening both bishop d3 and also rook takes h4 to h1.
Yeah.
So, wow, what a game! Oh, good lord!
What? What do you mean draw?
They've drawn. They've drawn.
Oh, hang on. Oh, this isn't a draw, is it?
They agreed to draw there. Oh my goodness me. That's a shame, really, because why?
Well, I suppose White. She's young player and lower rated, I guess.
Indeed.
But nonetheless, still
16 minutes to under one, really. So, I think the simplest way would have been to play, Queen c2 in this position, and then go King g2, Knight f3, and gradually emerge. It would have been. Yeah. Oh, what a shame, because White played so well there. But still well played to Imogen. Well played, Zoe.
Well defended, Zoe.
So excellent. D takes c5 was indeed played by Ketty. Fantastic. That trick has come. Bishop takes f5.
We knew it would happen at some point.
So now Black's actually
it's quite a nice setup to do that for Black here, isn't it?
Yeah, no, this has worked out very, very well here. But do we have a move like bishop c6? Because obviously we're going to try and get this rook off, and then we can take this. Yeah. Oh, we can't.
We can't because it's pinned. Yeah, the queen.
Oh, it's all.
And so you could go rook d8, for example.
Yeah, no, it's all horrible. It's all horrible. Oh dear me. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean you're going rook d8 anyway, aren't you? You're getting dear. This is a tough game, but tactics.
Yes, tough for Lara. Nice for Trisha. Trisha's had come back. Her brother was telling us she's just come back from a very successful. What was it? A European team championship.
Indeed, that's right.
Well, when I say come back from, I assume she was just playing at home.
The Virgin Media Gambit, says Andrew Craig. Indeed, I can definitely tell you, I'm not on Virgin Media now. I've switched to a different internet for doing this because I'm cut off. I don't know, 10, 15 times a day. It's
yes, ours is a bit shaky as well.
It's a bit shaky. Of course, you've got to bear in mind, of course, that there's with the lockdown, I think people's usage of internet has presumably just exploded.
Yeah, I suppose in the old days I wouldn't have even noticed if I was cut off a couple of times during the day. Well, maybe it's always been like that.
This is the thing, of course. Suddenly you're working and you're in a Zoom call, and and these things happen. But it's here Black made Catabias. Her knight is still on b6. The knight that I said was not very good. It's still there, but she's a pawn up. I don't know how big the winning chances are because White's there's a lot of weak pawns there too.
You've got to somehow relocate, haven't you, that knight?
Yeah, but this h pawn is going to be.
But can't White kind of Oh, okay. So white might go in with like knight b5 or something.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
then
I mean,
you can just defend. Yeah.
knight c8, knight b5. He defended. I think this is going to be a tough one to win for white, but this h pawn is definitely going to be a nuisance.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting to see.
I mean, it would be black playing for the win here, right?
Indeed.
Maybe.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. So Keti has actually won. The game finished rook d1. White stops bishop d3.
Very nice.
Rook h1. Congratulations,
Keti.
Keti, for a really amazing game, and hard luck, Dagne. Still quite a few rounds to go, of course. So still anything can happen. But Keti taking a really well, actually going to sole lead now, because Zoe, of course, who was the other player on two, just managed to hold a desperate draw against Imogen today. So
yes, and we had Maria, who was actually on 2 out of 2 as well, took a bye today, and so she moves to 2.5 as well.
Okay, fantastic. So we have an ending in this game now. Black is a pawn up, but White's got a nice pass-sequel. So they're still, still not over yet. This one's going to run a little bit longer. And well, I mean, getting short of time, so it's going to be quite thrilling, I think. This one is also going to be quite thrilling. I mean, what I would say here is that Black could play King G7.
Yeah.
After rook e6, go h4. This is a possibility.
Yeah. Get the pawn to h3 as well.
Because you've been given a couple of nice tempi there. So
because at some point you could always stick your rook behind that pawn as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You're going rook h8 and coming along. So this it might have been an inadvertent repetition. That could have been, I suppose. I'm not sure. I didn't think it was repeated 3 times though. Well, that's the only thing that I.
Oh, is this drawn already? No.
No. The Imogen's game against Zoe.
Yes.
I didn't think it was a threefold repetition yet. So, but maybe I could be wrong actually. Because we took on d3. Oh, maybe. Oh, good lord! Actually, might it have been? Because we go queen d3. I can't have been, surely. That can't be threefold repetition. This was queen takes. This was queen takes d3. So was it also? It really was repetition. Okay. Wow, I wouldn't have guessed it because queen d3 was a capture. So it's not the same. It's not the same
position after, though, isn't it?
Oh, it can't be this can't be a threefold.
Oh gosh.
I don't think it can be a threefold. Oh, you asked the father. Oh, okay, Raylin. Okay. Oh well, hard luck then. I mean, that's really that's a tough one to happen. But well played both players. I mean, Zoe defended really toughly. Amazing, managed to keep herself not getting mated, and Imogen played really well all the way through. So now let's have a look. Lara against Secret Superstar. Black's played this very sensibly, but White's king is coming round to b6. So, my goodness, this one's going to be. This one's
yeah. So presumably Black needs to kind of get some threats of her own pretty quick, maybe with those central pawns.
This is a toughie actually. This is all of a sudden. This has gone a little bit. White's playing the ending very aggressively. And well, if the king gets into here, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble, actually.
Could you cut off the bishop with?
With here, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come here simply, and then it doesn't matter anymore because I'm simply going king b6.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go e4. You go. I could throw in king b6 actually. Rook c8, and I could throw in king b7. I'm getting so many tempi.
Yeah.
It's just I'm getting rook d7 in as well. I mean, this is
tricky.
I'm not sure. I mean, I can go king d8, and get a cross like this.
Yes.
I'm not very sure about this, to be honest, because I'm going rook a2 to a8 here.
So, but if Black then goes bishop to e8, that doesn't help.
Yeah, Raylin. Yeah, Raylin. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not quite sure how it could be a repetition because queen d3. The first time queen d3 arose, that was queen takes d3. which is a different move to queen d3, I think.
I think it isn't repetition about, it's not the same move 3 times, isn't it? It's the same, to get to the same position with the same person who's about to move 3 times, I thought.
Don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, if the computer's declared it, then the computer is right. You know, I mean, that's. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed if that's happened. Then I think that's very unfortunate, because I could tell you I wouldn't have guessed it. I wouldn't have guessed that was a repetition. I would have thought you definitely had a few more moves to go. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be on the last move? Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, and that was queen c2. So. Unless we didn't get all, maybe we didn't get.
Is the position after queen c2 repeated?
No, I don't think so. That's definitely the. I'm wondering actually. What I'm actually wondering about is whether, in that case, whether we got all the moves, or maybe a few moves were missed out somewhere. You know, but it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, let's have a look. Has something happened whilst we've been talking? Because what's happened here? So. So black went e4, and here I was saying that I thought that king b6 was maybe going to be fairly strong. Okay, rook takes e4. Now, how's this one looking? This one's still looking very, very strong for white here. So because you're just too slow for checking, so we're just going to go king b6 and then rook f8 and c7, and it's just going to be winning. So I mean, I think king b6 straight away would have been very strong as well. But
so can black come out king e7 now? G5.
G5, that's quite a good one. Yes, rook e4 was a bit funny. I mean, king d6 or king b6 would have been very strong, I think. But G5, what are we going to do here? Well, I think rook f8 check would be probably my choice. King e7. Rook f8 check, king e7, and then rook h8 maybe.
Yes.
That's probably quite a nice one, because I'm threatening king b6 winning the rook. You see, so if you go g takes h4, I go king b6, and you know, that's just going to be winning. You've lost the rook, and I take here, king f6, and I'll just go king d5 here, and you're never going to keep me away. I mean, you can go king g7, but then I get my rook back here, and otherwise if you go something like king g5, then I'm already within the square of the pawn, you know. So it's just winning. So that should just be winning. Be made. Rook h8, very good move. Well played, Lara. So this is very strong indeed. That black rook is just too far. Very
so
good.
black should what? Take.
Well, I mean, take like a king b6.
Yeah.
So I don't know what black should play, to be honest. Because I mean, if all these pawns get exchanged, you're still with your passive rook, and you're so I think it's just. I mean, something like rook a7. I go. Rook
look,
a7
she's running
check.
out. She's got no time as well.
She's lost on time there, but
time.
the position was lost. So, well played, very good move, this rook h8. Well played, Lara. Hard luck, Secret Superstar. It was a very tough game. Looked like Secret Superstar just got back into it, but that passed pawn carried the day. And now, look at this one. This one's gone dramatic as well. So this is Alice Lampard against May Ketevan, and that knight that's been passive on b6 all the game. Yes. Now all of a sudden, and look at this g pawn.
How is this? Look at these, the pawns. Yeah, white's pawn's on the queen side, and black's g pawn coming through. Right, how do you stop it?
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. You don't stop it.
No, this is completely winning. I guess you should sort of try and give some little checks, and try and give some little checks there, and just see whether you can get the black king to go onto the g file. But I think probably we could just go a move like king g7, for example, and king h6 like this. You know, you just come around there, and then you go G2, and it's really it should all be it should just be completely over, really. Because I think if you go Rook H8 check, I'll go. Oh, actually, there's a little. I was thinking Rook G8. I go Knight G6, which is finished. You could throw in a little desperate Knight E6. So the idea if takes, I go Rook G8 and then take on G2.
Yes.
I mean, it will still be winning. Right? King F4 and Knight D4 is still winning, but you carry the game on. I might even be able to do a little King F6 there, simply Rook G8 and Knight G6. I mean, it's all pretty desperate. I mean, white is really completely lost there. So we got this check G2. Yeah, white went, black went King E8. Yeah. But I mean, Rook F1 check is now going to be the idea. This actually, this is not the cleanest way that black have done it, because if when you go Knight E6 now, white goes Rook G2, and black has still got to win it, and the king's a little bit passive, but okay, I mean, this is still very, very good indeed, of course, and completely winning in principle. But you should really try very hard, to finish off cleanly, because with 3 pawns here, you play B4, and there's nerves simply, and sometimes just spending just a little bit more time just before and just working out a clean win, is better. And I think there were quite a few of those. Rook G8, okay. I'm not quite sure about that one. King F7. So maybe white's going to play Rook A8. Yes, indeed.
Then you could maybe take with the knight.
Yeah, we can take with the knight. That's a good move. So maybe we play C5 now. That would be quite a good one. A bit confusing, and just but I mean, Knight C5 followed by Knight E4, completely winning again. Just don't get me wrong. I'm sure black's going to finish this off without any problems. But it's just it's nice to finish people off cleanly. It's and I think there that just at that stage with Rook D7, I think it was very easy, just to move the king, keep control of the G file, and move the king up a square. You can always have a look around, if you think afterwards, oh, I haven't got anything better, then just do it. But King E2, that's quite good from white. Confuse, attack stuff. That's quite good technique. But I think that that Knight D4 check, and then afterwards Rook A3 is going to be the next move. So probably King D2 now, and then Rook takes A3. And we've got 2 of those. Now I'm wondering whether King E1 might have been better, because now if we go C5 here, which is obvious, then we've got Knight B3 check, and we can pick up the other pawn.
Yes.
It would have been better probably just to stay out of range and just try and let the pawns go without Rook A7 check. Okay. So okay. So that's a decent attempt. King E8. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's a bit strange sometimes to put the king on the back rank, but I guess, black was a little bit nervous about this one. I don't. All the same, the king shouldn't have gone to the back rank there. That's
you can kind of blockade, can't you? Yeah, with that one. Okay,
but now we're going Rook C7 next, and now we've got our pawns protected. So C5 is coming in. We've gained a lot of time here, So. Mark says, since your comment that I've disconnected 4 times, my 4th attempt is totally yes. You're right. I know.
Right. Hope you hear our reply then. Yeah.
It is so frustrating when that happens. It might be. I mean, you might contact support and just ask about your Virgin router, whether that's having a problem, because my brother had the same problem, and it turned out that his router had a power issue. It kept on exceeding its power threshold and then recycling, rebooting. And so I've been meaning to do that for a very long time myself, actually, to call Virgin support. Of course, calling support is always it's one of those things that you have to invest a whole afternoon for somehow, but it might be worth it if you're having a lot of grief with it. So c5 now. This is getting a bit. Actually, or even rook e5. Actually. Oh, look at that. Oh. Actually, I mean, sound like Ulf Anderson there. He always said ooh when he spotted a tactic. Rook e5 was actually very nasty. Rook f5, also c5 maybe. d7 was threatened as well. That's why it was with rook e8. So this is really this is a bit thrilling actually. This has been made much more difficult than you would ever have dreamed actually. Really very so knight e6. Yeah, that's a bit this rook on h7 was not ideal. I put the rook back on e7, I think, although then we got knight c5 and we got this knight e4, so I think black's back in control now after this move. I think rook e5 would have been rather unpleasant actually. It would have been quite tricky to win that one, but now knight e6. I think we're back in control with black. Is my oh no, wait a minute. Rook h5. Because I was wondering actually, we could have played rook h8 check there actually. King f7, king f7. No, that wouldn't have been so clear. Okay, so rook h5 indeed, maybe a better attempt. f4. Well, now I would play c5 with white and just yes, indeed, two pawns. Oh my goodness me! I'm getting nervous watching this, to be honest. Oh God! All I'm thinking is I wouldn't want to calculate this with with little time on my clock. So yeah, f3. I think we could just go for a c6 here. Yeah, excellent. White's playing excellent practical game here. I mean, this is getting dangerous now. So, I mean, if I go
because if king e2, you've got knight f4.
Well, exactly. But well, rook a2 is possible as well. But we'll go king e3.
Hi, Maria. How are you doing?
Hey, Maria. So we've got king e3 now, and we're covering these squares now. So the one thing is that now black has actually got rook c2. So that's but if you go f2 now, am I going to go? I'll just go c7, I think. If you go rook c2, I'll go rook f5 and then take that pawn on f2, maybe.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's oh, good lord.
This is tricky, isn't it?
King e8. King e8 has been played. Rook f5 check. King e8. Oh, you might have waited with that. Oh, but no, actually, c7. C7. Oh, good lord, c7. How's that going? C7. C7. Going king d7. Rook f7. We'll go king c8. You can't move your rook off the f file because, well, actually, you can move your rook off the f file because you're just going to mate, aren't you? I mean, you could go. You could do something like, for example, I don't know, c7 here, there, here. I mean, you can do a move like rook e7, for example, because if f1 queen, you just go rook c8 and then c8 queen, and you've got loads of checks. I mean, that's definitely going to work. And I mean, you can go f1 with a knight, but that's not, you know.
No.
Well, I mean, you can carry on. You can sack the knight.
Yes, but then rook and knight against rook's not much. So you'd have to keep your. But you'd have still have your rook pawn on. I mean, maybe that's.
Yeah, it's possible. It's all possible, but it's all. Oh, rook f6, tricky. What a tricky move. That's an excellent move. So just. But now I think what black should do is king d8. That would be. Oh no, is that good? No, rook e6 then simply. No, I think you can do it. I think this would be the best move now. King d8. Although, I mean, we're starting to get to the position where but this pawn is going to run. So I think King d8 would be sensible here. Because if you go
C7.
if you go a King d8, rook e6, I go f1, c7, I go there, here, and then I come here.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm doing nicely in that.
Yeah.
King d8 she played. Wow, fantastic! What a move. Now, maybe it's time to be a little bit cunning as well and just go rook f7, move like that, c7 here.
Okay.
Now here, I would say that
Could just take it.
I think you should be taking now. I think that would be very sensible.
Because if the rook takes the pawn at the end, the king's forced outside the square.
Exactly. So takes. Now, what sort of this must be winning, of course. This must be winning.
Yes, because you can't take.
Yeah, it's always you always wonder about pretendings, but this must be completely winning. I mean, the only way that you could do it, but you're never going to be able to get your king around to stop the pawn with your king. I mean, if you're going to have your king here, you might have some you would have some chances actually, but then you play a rook on f5 and attack this one. It's called the Vancouver position, but I don't think that you're ever going to manage. So I think. Oh, but Black's played King c8. Oh, wait a minute, rook e6 here. Rook e6, rook e6. Oh, rook f6, sorry, the rook was on f7. Okay. Well, c7, king d7, rook f7, king d7. Oh, are they going to repeat here?
Oh, gosh.
My goodness.
So this position we think should really be... This should still be a win because...
Yeah.
Rook f6 we take on...
Yeah, so rook f6 we should take on c7. That's that would be a win. That would be a win. But Maria says,
how long have they got on the clock? Oh, they've only got a matter of seconds left each.
Wow, I'm amazed, Maria, but I believe you absolutely. So yeah, that's very unlucky for Imogen. I wouldn't have seen that repetition coming. My goodness. Oh, king d3. So White's avoiding the repetition. My goodness.
Gosh.
So getting closer to the pawn, you see, but on the other hand, not attacking this one anymore. I would say here that I would want to play a4.
Yeah,
that is absolutely the move I would want to play. And then what is White going to try go for a big gamble and just
go for mate? Might as well
go for king c4 maybe.
Yeah.
My goodness, I think I'd want to go rook d2 then, you know, though, as soon as I get that chance. So maybe, is White maybe going to try rook f6 now? Ooh. The problem is that rook e6, it allows f1 queen with check now. So it's not really a threat anymore. So yeah, exactly. And Black's seen that. So I think that it's looking like curtains now. I think after this heroic fight from White that Black is going to make it. Now the king's going back to e3, but we've gained everything now. So off to draw. I think knight c7 is really going to be the move now. Indeed, yes. That's so d takes c7.
Yeah, otherwise knight d5 comes in with a fork.
Okay, that's a little bit sneaky, but king d7 is the simplest move, indeed. So I think it's got to be d takes c7. It's going to be king takes c7. And now, I mean, Black's threat is simply to play rook b2 and then a2, you know, so, okay, king d3. I think we play rook to b2 there. That's the simplest way of doing it. So the king can't actually approach at all. and then you're just gradually going to come in with with your own king. You'll come, that's one of the ways. You'll either come round the king side, or you'll come round the queen side, but you will manage at some stage. Because as soon as the king abandons this, the rook, the pawn on a2 moves forward. Yeah. So I mean, the king will threaten to come around here, and then you won't be able to stop it. Oops, not that one. King e6, yeah. Oh wow, that was quite thrilling. That was really just shows that that any position really, it's any position can be tough to win in an online game with little time.
The other games are all finished, aren't they? This is the last one.
I think this was the last one, indeed. So,
can we do a 2 minutes through Raylin's game from yesterday?
Oh, let's have a look. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't do it like that. I do it like this, don't I? So that was this one, I guess.
Poor Mark's still getting connection problems.
Oh, Mark. Let's have a look then. This was Floson against Raylin. And let's have a look. We've got it was a C3 Sicilian. And we played knight f6, e5, knight d5. Oh, this is all very good. Oh yeah, this is a very good system, Raylin. Very sensible system against the C3 Sicilian. So d4 takes, d6, c4, and knight c6. I don't know whether you've seen it, but there's it's actually recommended in a book by the Greek player Vasilios Kotronias, and that's black against the anti-Sicilians. And they did a lot of analysis on this, and it turned out very nicely. So white plays a very aggressive line, actually. Oh, this is a very interesting game. Knight to c3. And then, I mean, now white often plays, white's got a lot of choices here. There's, strange enough, there's a move bishop d2 to threaten knight c3 without allowing the pawns to be damaged. There's also a queen e2, which is quite common. You play rook d1 to defend d4, and you can play queen e4 and bishop d3 later, to line up on this diagonal. Knight c3, though, is quite interesting. Although they often play it, also after queen e2, because here you might, after these moves, takes, it might have been sensible to take the queens off here, because this pawn here is quite a dangerous attacking pawn, really. So it would be nice maybe to exchange off queens first and then castle, and then just afterwards you're gonna try and line up on the c file. But this is actually completely fine. Castles. Now again, I would have said that I'd expect white to play queen e2 here, just to keep the queens on. Bishop e3 is a little slow, and what you did was very good. Queen c7, because white now has to waste a move with bishop f4. And in actual fact, normally you wouldn't want the bishop to be on f4. What you'd normally see in this position, actually, to be honest, is queen e2, queen c7, queen e4, b6, rook e1, bishop b7, and then either bishop d3, attacking h7 with mate, or queen g4, and then you're going to try and get him bishop h6. Quite a sharp little little game in prospect. So the way that white's doing it, white's quite a bit slower. So b6, very good move again. Get that bishop onto the long diagonal. Get this rook into play. Rook e1. bishop b7. And now white played very riskily here. Knight
We're
g5.
getting coronavirus updates on the chat, and there's another. I haven't actually had a chance to see the news today, but there seems to be another virus strain coming from South Africa. That's
my goodness me. It's I'm actually I'm trying not to watch too much.
You're not watching the news. I was a few days ago, but I haven't for a couple of days now.
It's hard to find something good and positive to look at there. So yeah, a knight g5 is quite it's a normal move in this position, but this is this one, of course, here is a little bit too risky because knight e5, and I mean, there's various reasons why something like bishop f4 wouldn't work, but the key resource for black always is this move queen c6, just hitting g2 and getting out of this pin, you know. So this is yeah, very strong. Now white played queen e2, which I mean, in these positions, I think white's best chance would be to play bishop f1. Protect the pawn on g2, and then you're going to try, you know, and do something like this. Obviously, after queen e2, we get to take the bishop with the knight, and we're a piece up. And yeah, this move is this is a good move, actually, a good defensive move that stops absolutely everything. f5. You cover along like this, you chase the queen away, and after queen e2, you get to get this rock solid structure with knight c4, bishop d5, pawn e6. And what happened here? Rook d1, rook c8, rook d3, knight e4. Yep, quite a nice move here, just threatening knight e4. And white missed another little threat here, bishop d2, bishop c4. And we've got this very...
It's all over.
And it's yeah, indeed, it's all over. And well, this let's have a look. Won the rook, and then knight e4, and yeah, black white didn't manage to resist for very long a rook down with a bad position there. That's very nice game. Yeah, good opening actually. But as I said, I think the key thing for to be aware of is this possibility, which is quite dangerous. There's been quite a lot of analysis on it. Some games with Vishy Anand actually as well. So b6, rook e1, bishop b7, and then yeah, a move like queen g4, threatening bishop h6. So normally you go, I think, rook d8, and then we go bishop h6 takes. Maybe we go h4 here. It's quite sharp, you know, quite a sharp, interesting game. But it's supposed to be balanced, you know, it's supposed to be equal for both sides. So there we are, Raylin. Well played, and well, looking forward to seeing you play again. Well, I guess on the 28th or 27th.
27th, I think we're back.
27th, I think we're back, aren't we? Oh, let's just have a look to see how.
Oh, yes, check. It really did end the way we thought it would.
Yes, indeed. Black won that game
with an extra queen, rook, and pawn at the end. Indeed.
An epic game there. So yeah, really
very well played, actually. Black.
Well played, May Ketevan, but really well fought, Alice, because yeah. It really looked just there for a moment as if white had got right back into it, but yeah. Auto incorrect, says Mark. That's it's okay. Well, there we are. So looking at the results then, what do we actually have now?
We have round 3. We have on 3 points, on 3 out of 3, Grandmaster Ketevan Arakhamia Grant. On 2.5, we have Zoe, and we also have Maria. So I think one of those will play against Ketevan next. We have on 2 points Imogen, Dagne, Lara, May, the game we just saw then, Tashika. We've got a lot of people on 2 points. Nina also. Yeah, and we also had Olivia winning today. I didn't. Did we look at that game? We did.
No,
Yeah.
Olivia drew today, didn't she? I thought.
Am I
Oh, no,
looking-
she won. She's got 1.5. She's got 1.5
She
points.
has 1.5. Yes, exactly. Excellent. So lots of exciting games. Yeah, you've got a few days off in this tournament, and then comes back on the 27th. And then looking ahead to this evening, we also have some exciting games there lined up. So in the championship.
Oh, good. Raylene says she's working a night shift on the 26th. So.
Oh, good grief.
Oh well,
Okay.
good luck on the 27th. Hope you get a bit of sleep, Raylene. That's.
Yeah, it's not always a disaster when you don't get much sleep. Sometimes you kind of play some more crazy ideas, and it can work fine. So hopefully that goes well. Okay, and tonight we've got actually a very exciting lineup at the top. I meet Ghazi against Michael Adams on board 1, and Matthew Turner against Daniel Fernandez on 2. And on board 3, Mark Hebden against Peter Finn.
Checkmate
in our chat earlier. Yes, and then Jim Gurner against Matthew Wadsworth. So lots of good games, and we also see Zoe Varney in action again. So she is black against William Claridge Hansen. We also see
Tashika Aurora is playing again. She's playing against Sean Gordon.
Oh, there we go. Sean Gordon, Sean the Prawn. And she gets to play white this evening. So good luck to all of those.
Indeed.
We'll see you again.
Okay, so thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks very much for all the comments. I'll probably be wearing a different jumper this time, my other Christmas jumper. And yeah, I mean, thanks as always for all the comments, all the enthusiasm, and see you this evening, 1850.
See you this evening. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you, Andrew.